We begin, though, in Washington. That's where the clock is ticking to pass President Trump's budget bill through Congress before the self-imposed deadline of July 4th. The House is back in session, and lawmakers in the lower chamber are back on Capitol Hill following a short recess. Their return comes a day after the Senate returned from their break, and as they face mounting pressure from President Trump to pass his so-called big, beautiful bill. But longtime Trump ally Elon Musk once again broke away from the president, posting some thoughts on his social media platform X, saying, quote, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it." For more on this, let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian. Nicole, Senate Majority Leader Thune met with President Trump yesterday at the White House. How closely is the Senate leadership working with the president to get this bill passed?
Well, as you can see, that meeting that the majority leader had just yesterday with the White House is an indication of how closely aligned the White House and Senate and House leadership are, for that matter. I mean, look, when we watch the bill go through the House, I can't count the number of times that Speaker Mike Johnson was over at the White House, or President Trump came to the Hill, or members of the House Republican Conference were meeting with the president. Similarly, now that the bill is on this side of the Capitol, you know, we're seeing that same type of maneuvering in terms of, you know, the leader having continuing conversations with the president. Of course, also the president reaching out to a number of different senators. So that will likely continue as we get to the point of potential passage.
Hey, Nicole, on that point, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, he's one of several members calling for significant changes to this legislation. And earlier, he talked about the importance of strength in numbers to have their voices heard. Take a listen.
Right now, there are competing factions, though. There are 4 or 5 who don't want any spending cuts, and there are 4 or 5 who want more spending cuts. So it's who sticks together better and who has more courage to stand up and say no.
Republicans in the Senate who support the president's agenda looking to win over these remaining holdouts at this point?
Yeah, well, Rand Paul is going to be a hard one to sell this package on. I mean, you know, as you heard there, one of his biggest concerns is, you know, how much this will add to the debt and deficit. He's certainly not the only fiscal hawk in the Senate that is concerned about that. But honestly, you could take any bill, whether it's, you know, the usual government funding bills that we're talking about, you know, every so often to fund the government. You know, Rand Paul typically opposes those too for that same reason, that it adds to the debt and deficit. It's not paid for. You know, there are pay-fors in this package, but certainly it doesn't go far enough as far as Senator Paul is concerned. But that being said, you know, there are some other senators who may be more convincible. You know, we're particularly keeping our eye on more moderate members, people like Susan Collins, who has expressed some concerns about potential Medicaid cuts. You know, Tom Tillis is another who's expressed some concerns about the rollback of green energy credits. But at the same time, these are senators who are up for re-election, so they're kind of in a delicate balance in terms of, you know, what they're going to support in terms of a final package. So those are the Republicans that we are watching more closely to see what kind of arm twisting happens behind the scenes and what potential changes may take effect with the bill as it moves through the Senate.
Yeah, plenty more can happen over the next month. Nicole, thank you very much. And for more on this, let's go to CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes. Nancy, you heard there from Rand Paul. President Trump took aim at Rand Paul twice with multiple posts on Truth Social saying, quote, "Rand votes no on everything, but never has any practical or constructive ideas. His ideas are actually crazy losers," he says. "The people of Kentucky can't stand him. This is a big growth bill." So a lot to unpack there. What should we make of this particular dispute? It's also important to note, Nancy, there are other holdouts. So why is the president so focused on Senator Paul here?
Probably, Nancy, because he recognizes that Senator Paul is unlikely to come around. He likely can't be convinced, so the president doesn't have a lot to lose by attacking him in this way, whereas he does need to bring a few of these other Republican holdouts over to his side. The door is still open to that, and so he's not going to go after them as ferociously. The president can afford to lose a couple of Republicans in the Senate, and he may just view Rand Paul as one of those that he is unlikely to convince because this is a long-time issue of Senator Paul's, and he has been outspoken on it, whether there's a Democrat or a Republican in office.
And Nancy, we just saw Elon Musk post about Trump's budget bill. He did not mince words there. Has there been any word from the White House about these comments?
Yeah, he called the big, beautiful bill an abomination filled with pork. And the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, who was actually doing her briefing when Elon Musk posted that, she was asked about it, and she basically shrugged it off. She said the president is already aware of how Elon Musk feels, but that this does not change the support that the White House has for, as they're calling it, the big, beautiful bill. But it is notable, Nancy. I mean, this is the man, Elon Musk, that the president handpicked to spearhead efforts to cut government spending for him in the first 4 months of this president's term. So the fact that that person is now voicing his very, very strong opposition to the bill is notable.
Absolutely. Nancy Cordes, thank you very much.